What is going on, everybody? It's Brian from Brian Loves Bonsai, and I'm back with another video for you today. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of deciduous work. I have two different species here. One is this red Florida maple, swamp maple, red maple, and I'm going to be doing some significant cutbacks to both of the trees that I'm working on today. I'm trying to make some smaller trees. Going forward, I have a lot of really big trees in my garden. I am running out of space, and so I'm trying to make some mid-sized trees, some small trees, some shohin trees, definitely some stuff in the middle. So I am going and reducing a couple of my deciduous species. Now is the time to do it, when the buds are swelling. Again, I have two species here. This first one here is a red maple, and after that I will be working on a laurel oak and doing the same type of work, which is a significant cutback to both trees, and then root work, getting them potted, doing everything all at the same time for that structural work to get it potted and ready for the growing season. So I did that main chop that you just saw on the trunk of this red maple right now. Did a little bit of an angle cut to lead towards this leader that you can see going off to the right on the screen right now, and that's going to be the main trunk line going forward. So I really want that to swell up. It's definitely probable that if I continue this type of method that I'm going to need to do some more chops in the future, but right now I'm going to try and build some taper transition by letting that leader at the tip of the cut grow and swell, heal over that cut area, and then once that happens I'll probably cut back again and continue the process. And so I'm going through and just doing a full repot of this tree as well, raking out the roots, discovering what is going on beneath the soil line. This red maple has probably been growing in a cut 7-gallon pot for a couple of years at least, probably 4 to 5 years it's been in here. So you can see lots and lots of healthy roots. Great root mass going on below the soil line, and I am just trying to clean it out, reduce it as much as I can without doing anything too major or significant. I do like to keep as many of the roots as possible when I'm doing my repots. I know people can be much more extreme, washing out the soil, doing extreme cuts and whatnot, and I just tend to be a bit more conservative with my repots. I tend to keep as much root mass. Basically, my philosophy is to keep as much root mass as fits in your intended pot. So if you have a goal of where you're putting the tree, I tend to take off no more than what is going to get me finalized into that pot that I'm working towards. And, no more excessive cutting than that. And I definitely never wash out my roots. I think there's a lot of beneficial bacteria and fungi and all sorts of stuff going on inside of the root system, especially when you have some organic soil mixed in there. And so washing the roots is a big no-no for me. I like to keep as much in there as possible. And so you can see going forward that I was able to reduce the root mass a lot. I was probably in maybe a 20-inch diameter pot previously, and this is a 15-inch oval. So definitely a lot less room for me to fit the roots going forward. But since there was so much just nice root mass, it was really, nothing really super thick, nothing really structurally to get in my way and to resist me from reducing the mass. I was able to reduce it down into this 15-inch oval, and that is going to be at least its home for the next couple of years. I'm using my standard bonsai soil mix, which is the 1:1:1 red lava, expanded shale, and pine fines. I'm finding that this is the mix that I am leaning towards going forward for the continuation. I like the particle size. I like that I basically control the organic component just from the amount of pine fines that I'm adding to the mix itself. So if I want to add a little bit more water retention, I'll throw some more pine fines into the mix. If I want to get a little bit more drainage, lower that. But with the red lava and expanded shale, I get a really good consistent particle size. In Florida, we are super, super wet, and so having stuff that's not going to break down, stuff that's really hard and fixed size is super important. So that was the red maple, and here is the laurel oak. At the beginning, I was kind of deciding what I wanted to do with it, but again, I ended up going with the same work, the same concept. You can see that there's not a lot of taper on that big, thick trunk. From bottom to top, it is a very similar size, maybe an inch or so in reduction in the diameter of the trunk, and so I just take it back really, really hard. Again, I'm still pretty new to my work with Deciduous, and so getting these chops just right, finding the angle to try and get a nice smooth transition of taper is still something that I'm working on. You can see I do multiple cuts here, and that's just to kind of remove some of the larger trunk piece that was extending up and past the new leader. You want to get the transition as close to the new leader as possible so that when the new leader extends and grows, it heals over that cut area. You want basically the skin, the bark, the outer area to heal up and over that flat cut area. And so the more that you can taper your cut to the transition, the more success you're going to have, the quicker your wound is going to heal. And I actually ended up with a pretty decent cut here. At the end of the day, I did have to do multiple, like I said, but ended up with a nice little transition here. And I know that when this explodes, as it inevitably will, it is going to heal up just great. Even though I am reducing it into these smaller pots, this is potentially only temporary as I gain control of the trees. Again, as I've mentioned previously in videos before, I do have a few hundred trees all growing in this Florida climate, and it is excessive. While you were pontificating over winter about what you may be doing, I was potting, trimming, pruning, cutting, picking weeds, and so it can get burdensome, and so I tend to shoot for smaller pots right up front, gain control of the growth of the tree, and then if I want to advance thickening or whatever it may be, I go forward and do that by up potting into larger nursery pots that I have laying around the garden. And so I pretty much feel like that's it for my dialogue in regards to these two trees. I'll throw on some music and let you finish off this repot of this oak, along with seeing both the maple and the oak in 360 degrees. Let me know what you think of the work that I did, what these trees look like in their two new pots, and the future of the trees going forward. I hope you enjoyed this video, and you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for watching Brian Loves Bonsai.